So the first thing we're going to cover is why. And one of the reasons I want to focus on why is, as you know, from Brett's daughter, we have kids that are your age, so we understand as much as we can understand how hard you all are working today, right? We understand the competition level today is not the same as it was when Brett and I were your age, right? It's way more competitive now than it ever has been. It's way more difficult to land the job that you want, and so I understand that your time is very valuable. So I want to give you an understanding of why I think LinkedIn is a good place for you to spend your time, as opposed to just telling you should be there. So we'll talk about why you should be on LinkedIn. The second thing we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about your profile. Thinking about your profile, not as your resume, but as a place for you to share your story and share your brand. This is super important. It's a really big differentiator between what a resume is and what LinkedIn is. And I think hopefully at the end of this conversation, you'll feel more empowered and more inspired to use LinkedIn, because you can be your authentic self and you don't have to worry about what your resume is and how many skills you have. You can just really not attack it, but just embrace LinkedIn in a different way. So that's the second thing we're talking about, is your profile. Third thing we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about your network, growing your network. You all have heard that saying, it's not just what you know, it's who you know, right? Everybody's heard that saying, right? Now it's more prevalent than ever. 70% of jobs are found through a network. 70% of jobs are found through network. And so if you were like me, and maybe Brett, when we were in college, we didn't have a huge network. Like, we were in the military, so it was a little bit different. But the bottom line is that I didn't have a network. And so nowadays, I'm going to show you how you can grow your network and just crush it on LinkedIn and give yourself the most opportunity. And then the fourth thing we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about sharing content. Because at the end of the day, what LinkedIn is a social media platform. It is not a resume repository and job board. It is a social media platform. So let's start with why you should be on LinkedIn, right? Social media, it's designed to help you make money, right? The whole purpose of LinkedIn, our ethos, is to create economic opportunity for everybody. And so what we want to try and do is we want to try and help everybody out there get where they want to go in their career for free. Not here, schlepping LinkedIn Premium. You don't need premium. I don't think anybody needs premium, really, but you definitely don't need premium as a student. It's not designed for you all. So everything we're going to talk about today is free. The second thing I want you to know is I just want to give you some stats behind where we stand right now. We are at almost 800 million members worldwide. We have over 18 million jobs on LinkedIn. It might surprise you to know that LinkedIn places more people into new jobs than any other platform in the world, including Indeed. We place more people starting right around the beginning of COVID last year. LinkedIn surpassed Indeed, and we haven't looked back. So we place more people in new roles than Indeed. So those are good reasons to be on LinkedIn, right? But again, you're probably on Indeed too. So why don't we go a little bit further into why you should be on LinkedIn? Can anybody tell me how they think LinkedIn earns our revenue? Where do you think LinkedIn earns our revenue? Does anybody want to guess? Anybody?
Like, I've seen that companies can prioritize themselves in their search results, and they would have to pay you to do that. I know that premium, as well as anytime you search, a lot of times a company can pay for priority, but I don't know if that's the main source of income.
That's a really good call out. So it is not our main source of income, but it is a source of income. And so premium is a revenue source for us, but it might surprise you to know of our 800 million members, only 3% pay premium, only 3%, right? Now that's still 3% of 800 million at $60 a month is a lot of money, but it's not our largest revenue source. So what you're talking about is LinkedIn. People can pay LinkedIn to have their company show up in a post, and that is one of our revenue streams. But our largest single revenue stream is what we call our talent module. And what we mean by that is we charge corporate America to actually have a robust search engine, so they can go into the back end of LinkedIn and they can get very, very granular with the searches. They can be like, I'm looking for somebody who is graduating with a bachelor's degree in this area, living in this part of the country, that has these many skills, that may have worked wherever. So they can actually search almost 100 different things within LinkedIn. They can do a very, very granular keyword search and find talent. That's what we do. We charge corporate America to search through LinkedIn to find you. That's our number one business line. So given that, what percentage of Fortune 500 companies do you think pay LinkedIn to find you? What do you think? What percentage of Fortune 500 companies actually pay us? What do you think our market share is?
Like
95.
80.
95. Ooh, that is a very close guess. Who guessed that? Very good guess. All right. Everybody else, you're dead to me. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you for volunteering. The answer is 97%. We were at 100%. Prior to COVID, we had a few of them that we haven't been able to re-sign since then. 97%. All right, that's kind of bananas. 90% of corporate recruiters are using LinkedIn in one way or another. So what this means, like when we talk about why, you should know unequivocally, without a doubt, that when you are applying for a job in corporate America today, they are going to go to your LinkedIn profile before they ever interview you. And that is a fact. All right. They are going to look at your LinkedIn profile before they interview you. So when you just have this bare bones LinkedIn profile, or you just have a regularly, when I say regular, I mean like you just uploaded your resume and you kind of like just put it up there because you're not comfortable with it and you don't really know what to do with it. That shows, right? That the recruiters see that. The other thing that I want you to know is that because I've been working with LinkedIn now long enough to meet a lot of people, and I've been doing this for a while, I have actually met a lot of corporate recruiters, a lot of hiring managers, and I actually met this gentleman who works for a company. He's a VP of a talent agency, and he places about 3,000 people into new jobs every year. Actually, he places them in IT and in tech. And he told me that every single client of his, virtually every single client, he's like, they boil it down to two things that they're looking for when they're trying to hire people. And that is attitude and aptitude. Attitude and aptitude. And the reason for that is pretty simple. Like we can train, you can get trained to do a hard skill, right? You can learn how to do Microsoft Office, Microsoft Excel. You can learn how to market. You can learn how to do software programming. Like, those are things that you can be taught, but you can't really teach somebody resiliency, right? You can't really teach somebody how to have a positive attitude, how to work hard. And so what I want you to leave here today thinking with LinkedIn is it's a place for you to showcase your personality, your story, where you're coming from, what you've overcome, what you've learned, right? All of these things that when that hiring manager inevitably looks at your LinkedIn profile, they're going to be like, oh, damn, she's had a really interesting life, right? She's learned all of this additional stuff outside of school, right? She loves to do X, Y, and Z outside of class. I like to do that too. Instead of just going to LinkedIn and seeing basically a duplicate of your resume, which, let's be honest, resumes are terrible. The resumes are designed to just basically break down your experiences and your skills, and that's it. They're just minimum qualifications. Now, I'm not saying you don't do a resume, you have to. But what I am saying is that LinkedIn is a tool for you to differentiate yourself, and it's free. If you differentiate yourself on LinkedIn, it can only help you. It will not hurt you. If you are authentic on LinkedIn and you leave here today and you spend time working on your profile, telling your story, sharing your story, it will make a difference. I promise you. And now, after being here for as long as I now have a lot of examples of students that have done this over the years. They're just like killing it. And so I'm going to show you their profiles. So I'm ready to jump into it now. Do y'all have any questions about LinkedIn before I jump in? Oh, Brett, you disabled my screen sharing.
Oh, sorry. Hold on.
Come on, dude. You got to give me privileges here.
All right, go, Ryan.
Yay. All right. Let's do this. And I have two monitors up, so I can see you all, or you can just like shout out if you have any questions. All right, so let's first start with Bridget. So I want to share with you, Bridget. Let me pull this down here. Actually, let me not do that. All right, you still see Bridget's profile?
Yeah.
All right, sweet. So I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so you all can see it on your screen. So a couple of things about Bridget's profile that are really important. Profile picture. I think this often gets overlooked, or you've put too much of your body in here. It really should just be a headshot. 70% of our traffic is on a mobile device. Actually, it's probably more than that now. I think it's about 75% of our traffic is on a mobile device. So the real estate is super, super tiny. So you're going to want to just show a headshot. It does not have to be, you don't have to be dressed like $1 million. You can be yourself. It does not need to be professional. Background photo is super important. This is a great place for you to start sharing your brand, right? And your image and your story. If you take a look at her background photo right here, you can see that she has this where this little quote where it says, it's time to look inward and start asking yourself the big question, who are you and what do you want? Now, I love this because it starts to really showcase her personality, because this is from Avatar: The Last Airbender, which some of you may know this, it's an anime, right? And my thing is like the little bit of hints that you can give about your personality on LinkedIn, the more that you can do that, the better. So this is a perfect example of how she did that. Now, if you are not creative, like me, I'm not creative at all, you can go up here to your Me tab and go under View Profile. And I'm going to show you here that how you can change your background photos. You just click on this or tap on this pencil, depending on if you're on the phone, and then change photo right here. And you can upload a photo like Bridget did, or you can add some of our own custom imagery. You can see our off-the-shelf stuff right here. We have this new program, this new feature, I should say, where you can go onto the back end of LinkedIn and identify if you want to. There are so many more companies that are working on equity and inclusion, so they want to know what type of ethnicity you have. So if you want to do that, you want to show that background photo, you can. If you want to show you're an ally to the disabled, you can do that as well. Or Latino versus Stop Asian Hate, you can see all of the background photos where you can show that you're an ally if you want to. So now there really is no excuse not to have a background photo, because you can pull off any one of these off-the-shelf ones and put them back there. Now, when you're looking at the profile, there are a couple of things I want to point out here that are really important. One of them is this area right here. This is the headline. And this gets kind of used in a way that is a little bit more, I don't know, it just doesn't serve a purpose for most people. And what I mean by that is that most students are putting what school they're going to and what their major is, and maybe where they're interning or where their current job is. And you're kind of just being super redundant right here when you do that. You know what I'm saying? So what you want to do here with this is you really want to, in my opinion, use this as an opportunity to drive to start this brand, right? Creating your brand and creating your, not your image, but your story. And so you can see here that Bridget is guiding individuals into the next step of their career. You can talk aspirationally. If you're an aspirational software engineer or product manager or graphic designer, whatever you want to be, you can be like aspirational XYZ. If you want to think about like words that people would use to describe you, you can put that there. I just want you to think outside of the box and not put just your school and just where you're working. That doesn't really help you too much here. So kind of think outside of the box there. And if we scroll down a little bit further, we go down here to the About section. This is really where, you have an opportunity to totally change how people perceive you. Most people in this About section are using, they're kind of regurgitating their resume, their summary, their cover letter, right? And they're not really being super authentic. In this portion right here, I want you to think of like if somebody would come up to you and be like, what is the first question you mainly get asked in an interview, right? It's tell me about yourself. That's normally the first question you get asked. So I want you to think about what would you tell people? And I don't want you like in an interview, you kind of want to talk about yourself, not just I'm super accomplished. And these are all the accomplishments I made all my life, right? We want to work with people that we know and that we get along with. And so this is where in the About section, you have an opportunity to really start showcasing that. Here you can see that she starts with a line from Jack Nicklaus: complacency is a continuous struggle we all have to fight. And then she talks about knowing what it's like to feel complacent and lost in her career, and knowing she needs to change her habits and overcoming that, right? Taking the steps to actually overcome that. And here's where, Bridget's story and other people that are using LinkedIn this way, it differs than what most resumes and what most people do on LinkedIn, which is trying to drop all of those keywords like highly motivated and hardworking and disciplined, right? People are accustomed to using those power words in resumes because you only have 5, maybe 10 seconds, 15 seconds for a person to look at your resume and want to move you on to the next step. That's not how it works on LinkedIn, right? And so what I want you to do is I want you to think of, how would I show, not just say, don't just say you're hardworking. How would I show that I'm hardworking? How would I show that I'm disciplined? How would I show that I've overcome, obstacles? Are you working your way through college? Well, that's pretty cool. That's resilient. That shows you that you're resilient. That shows you that you're hardworking, right? Any of you, been a competitive athlete, right? Or in music all your life, or performed in any way. All of those things have taught you a lot about life, even at a young age. So all of these things you can actually start showcasing. So my point with all of this is try to think of what you want people to, how you want people to think of you, and what kind of stories you can say about your life and where you are at this point that is best articulates that. Does that make
Hey,
sense?
Ryan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a couple questions for you. Can you put graphics into that section?
Yeah.
Or is it text only?
No, you can put graphics in here. But if you wanted to do something more like featured, so for example, let's say you've done a project, if you've done something with software development, right? You can actually put that in your featured section. So that was the next section right here, where you can think about this in a way like you can record video of yourself. You can talk about where you want to go in your career, or you can link to different projects. You can showcase those. And it's super easy to do. You just go into the profile section right here, and you click on this featured section. If this is not here, by the way, you just click on add section. And when you click on add section, you can go to the featured section. And when you're in the featured section, just click on plus and you can link. You can even link to, if you all have a portfolio platform or you've created a software program you want people to see, right? You can link to that. You can upload media, documents, photos, presentations. You can link to posts. All of that is free on LinkedIn. And think about the difference between this and a resume. And think about this, the difference between this and what most students do, where they don't even use this section. When we're talking about the competitive nature of getting a job now, and they go to your LinkedIn platform and they can see who you are as a person, what you like to do outside of work, what kind of attitude you have, and then they see your work. How powerful is that?
Okay, and then in that section above the featured, I think it was.
Yeah, the about section.
Sorry, yeah. What do you think is optimum length there? That seems real long to expect anybody to read unless they're really interested in you. Any ideas on that?
Yeah, so there are two schools of thought. I mean, one thing is that it's a minimum of 40 words. Minimum of 40 words. Now, here's the deal. Most people are not going to read the whole section of anything that you write. But the more compelling it is, the less resume-y it is, the more people are going to read it. And that's just a fact. People read interesting stuff. People want to know about you. That's interesting. They don't want to know all these keywords about you. They want to know the real you. So that's, my opinion is it should be, this is a good link. The other thing is that, how hiring is done right now is a lot of stuff goes through ATS, applicant tracking systems. And they're going to be screening all of your resumes and your profiles for minimum qualifications. Once you get through that screening process, LinkedIn comes into play a lot of times. And that's when they're looking at LinkedIn, they're going to try to narrow down their field, right? And so their first thing they're going to do is they're going to look at your profile and they're going to look at your about section. The more compelling it is, the more likely they will be to interview you. I'm just telling you, it's just a fact. So they're making it long is not a big deal. Remember, every word is fully searchable. Every word on LinkedIn is fully searchable. So the more content you put in, the better. And then the last thing I'm going to say is that I can say I'm a hard worker, but if I sit here and I drop 40 words exactly on LinkedIn, or I drop this in here, what shows more work? What actually shows people that you have a work ethic? When you actually think about your profile and you spend 2 to 3 hours on your profile, well, that shows you've got hard work. If you spend 15 minutes on your profile, it shows. So I'll just leave it at that. I don't expect everybody to read all of this. I don't care if everybody reads it. I just need that one person that is interested in me to read it and give me an opportunity. And let's be honest, this will never turn people off. They're going to be like, oh, Brett wrote too much information. What an idiot. No, they're not going to do that. So I would err on the side of just writing whatever you feel is going to be enough to showcase your personality, showcase your story, and go from there.
Do you mind telling the story about Connie?
Yeah.
How she, and I apologize if that was later for the talk, but I thought that was very compelling that you told me about her and what she did in her profile.
No, yeah, I mean, absolutely, yeah. So my wife was working for a software company for a long time here. What is going on? Hang on a second. Oh, never mind. So I'll just show you her profile real quickly. And she wanted to change her roles. And so what she did, again, is, why is my computer so slow? It's really frustrating. Sorry, everybody. So I told her, you need to, like I'm telling you all, I'm like, you've got to just be more personal, more open. And so she wrote this, like, personally, I try not to act my age. Who wants to do that anyway? I'm a Disney, Marvel, Star Wars fan, but I spend most of my free time looking for inspiration on how to wreck my home. And I find it appeals to my creative side, and at the same time, providing a cozy home for my family means the world to me. Like, this is in addition to, talking about her story and where she's coming from. Literally the next week, literally not even a week later, a company reached out to her and said, I want you to interview this for this position because you love Disney. The client is actually Disney. And about a week after that, although she didn't get that job because they were looking for somebody who had a different type of sales experience, about a week after that or 2 weeks after that, Oracle came reaching out to her. And in both of her interviews, they asked her about this. They're like, tell me about Disney. Tell me about what's your favorite Marvel movie, right? Both of those interviews. My brother changed his profile and he talked about being, wanting to be he's the guy who picks the restaurant and he loves reading and he wants to be a rock and roll, he's practicing the guitar so he can be a rock and roll legend. The next day, I'm not kidding you, the next day he got a DM saying, I loved your profile. You should come to work for us. Bridget is a good example. Bridget has been working her whole entire career to try to get into a tech company and be in HR recruiting. And look at the first job she got out of college. She works for Google. She got her first job out of college working for Google in HR as an HR recruiting coordinator. And she had another tech company, two job offers, one from us and one from Google. I'm telling you all, when you put yourself out there and you differentiate yourself and you tell your story, that is different, because I can hire anybody to do with the right, I could train anybody to have the right skill. I can't train personality. You just can't. Does that make sense to you all? Awesome. I'm assuming you all are riveted and enjoying every minute of this. All right. Anybody have any questions? Cool. All right. Let's go on to the next thing. And I'm going to bounce back and forth with a couple of other profiles so I can share with you what I'm talking about. Let me show you Evelyn here real quickly, just so you can kind of get a different idea here. So Evelyn, I met Evelyn a few years ago at our alma mater, Brett and I's alma mater at USC. I met her as a sophomore. Actually, she was a freshman. And she said, I really want to go into sales. I think I really want to go into sales. And so I'm like, well, that's cool, but let's talk about like how you can show that. Like, tell me something where from an early age, you sold yourself or sold something. And she's like, well, I remember when I was 15, I went basically knocking on doors to get my first job. At 15 years old, she went knocking on doors to get her first job. I can tell you one thing I wasn't doing when I was 15, and that was knocking on doors to get my first job. And so going through this, she actually put this on LinkedIn and articulated not just, I want to be in sales and I love selling, but actually sharing a story about who she is and her personality and that tenacity, overcoming that fear of rejection, right? Again, storytelling, instead of saying, I know how to overcome rejection and I'm not afraid to be rejected. And it's led to her getting where she wants to go in her career. I'll share with you a little bit more about her story in a second. All right. So let's go ahead and talk about growing your network. Let's see. Principia, where is it? Is this it right here? Principia College?
Yeah.
Boom. All right. So what I want you to see here, all of you.
The two people at the top are Brett and I.
That's that's right. Well, the reason for that is because of the way the network works. So obviously, Brett's going to show up here because he and I are connected. So anytime you're on LinkedIn, first thing we're going to do is show you your network. Again, that's leading into why I'm talking about growing your network. It's so important. If you have a first degree connection at the job at which you apply, right? You're twice as likely to get hired. And that doesn't mean that you know them from anybody. They just happen to be in your network. Just having somebody in your network gives you twice the opportunity to get a job at that company. So by growing your network, you just really, you're exponentially increasing your opportunity on LinkedIn. And why I'm showing Prin here is because one of the easiest way to grow your network is to grow your network with people that have gone to the same school that you've gone to. And so what we've done here at LinkedIn is on this school page, and every single school has this. So if you've transferred from another school, or if you're going to go get a master's degree or a graduate degree at another school, you can all go to any one of those schools, click on this alumni tab. You can do this on your phone as well. And here we have about 6,000 alumni that are on LinkedIn. We tell you where they live. We tell you where they work. We tell you.
Unreal.
What's that?
It's just making a joke. So many people that graduated from Prin now work at Prin, and it's the biggest portion. Sorry,
Yeah.
go ahead.
That's true. But, truth be told, I mean, do you have student employees there too?
Yeah, it's true.
Probably
Yeah.
some.
Yeah. So some of these are student employees. So a lot of times you'll see that with other colleges too, because they have so many student employees. But what this does for you, right, is it gives you information so that you can grow your network. Now, what you could do here is you can actually search this information. So you can do a keyword search here if you'd like. But what I like to do here is I like to actually find people that may be working at the company that you want to work for. And let's see if there's anybody there. So you can see all of these companies right here. But does anybody want to volunteer? Like, is there a company you'd love to work for, to see if there's a alumni that works there? Somebody shout out a company.
Google. I know there's Google employees. There's 3 Google employees.
So if we do PayPal, let's try PayPal.
Or PayPal would be a good one.
Let's do PayPal. Drum roll, please. Nobody. Wah, wah.
I don't know if we're gonna have too many.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a small school.
That's okay. Let's do Google real quick, just because we know somebody's there. We got 9 people that work at Google. And so what you can do with this is you can scroll down to the bottom and you can actually connect with them. So you can see here, Nicole, boom, I'm going to connect. Always, always, always add a note. You want to add a note to this. You want to say, in my opinion, it should be short and sweet. I'm in sales, so I know how to get people's attention pretty quickly. You want to make it like, what's in it for them? Why should they connect with you? I'm a current student at Prin, right? And why do you want to connect? I've always wanted to work at Google, or would love to do an informational interview. Do you have 5 minutes for an informational interview? What's life like at Google? Tell me your story. People love talking about themselves. I'm just throwing that out there. People love talking about themselves. So super powerful, right? Now, if on your phone, I just want to tell you the UI is a little bit different on your phone. Do not tap on, you want to tap on their name on the phone, and do not tap on this icon. Don't tap on this little plus with the person on the phone, because it automatically connects and it does not allow you to do a personalized invite. So what you want to do is you want to tap on their name like I did here. And then there's going to be more, or sometimes there's just an ellipsis. So 3 dots on your phone, tap on those 3 dots. And then the drop down menu will say personalized invite. And then that's what you want to do. You want to click on personalized invite. And then you can actually, say why you're reaching out to them, who you are and why you're reaching out to them. This is an incredibly powerful tool. And you can search anyone. So if you want to do PayPal, right, you can search PayPal, and right, there happen to be no alumni from your university there, but that's okay, because they have, 35,000 employees. So we've come over here to the people tab, and you can see where all of those people are, what they studied, right, where they studied. what they do, what they studied. So let's say you all are studying computer science. So let's just narrow it down to, I just want to know people that are in computer science. And then let's say you really want to be in product management, let's just say. So these people have studied computer science, are PMs at PayPal. And then you're like, you know what? I really want people that are in the Bay Area because I'm thinking about moving to the Bay Area. So that's 101 people that you can try to connect with. So you can scroll down here and you can just connect away, connect. And you can say the same thing to all of them. Hey, I'm a current student. I'm really interested in what life is like as a PM, and I'm just trying to grow my network. Or I'm really interested in what life is like as a PM. And, do you have 5 minutes for an informational interview? Now, if you do this, just 5 of these a day on your phone, which you saw how long it takes me. It doesn't take you very long at all. So let's say 5 minutes. We'll just go on the high end and say it takes you 5 minutes. 5 minutes a day to connect with 5 people. I guarantee you're going to grow your network super quickly, and it will help you find a job. It's just a no-brainer. The other thing is that, and this is one of the things, and Brett's known me from when I was I'm way different than I was when I was in college. I'm way, way different. And one of the things that I regret most about in college is that I didn't socialize as often as I should. And what I mean by that is I didn't reach out to people for help. I should try to do it all on my own. I was just too uncomfortable. I'm like, fear of rejection was a big problem for me. I don't want to reach out to somebody because they're going to say no, and I'm going to feel like an idiot, right? I regret that because there are so many people that want to help you. If you put yourself out there and you put every other person or every one of your connection requests with people that are doing the job that you want for the company that you want to work for, or in the industry that you want to be in, and you're like, hey, do you have 5 minutes for an informational interview? You might hit 1 out of every 10 say yes. But if you hit up 100 people, you've just had 10 informational interviews. And if 9 of those informational interviews are, they're okay, and 1 of them you hit it off, and all of a sudden this person's like, damn, anything you need, let's hit up again. Let's meet again. And next thing you know, you have somebody that might be a mentor for you. If you don't ask, it won't happen. And this is the deal with LinkedIn. And this is where we are, in my opinion, where we are, that people want to help. And this is a platform that allows you to grow your network strategically, reach out to people anywhere. It doesn't matter where they are because they're all over the world doing all kinds of jobs. You will be able to find somebody that has the career you want and that may be able to guide you and give you advice. How cool is that? Anybody have any questions about this? No questions? All right, real quickly, I want to show you Mike here. So Mike is a current student at Cal State Fullerton. So that's a 4-year school here in Southern California. So I met Mike when he was going to community college here in Orange County, right down the street from where Brett used to live and I live right now. And I did this workshop for them in 2018, and I did it again in 2019. And he came up to me and introduced himself to me in 2019, and he shared his story with me, and he allowed me. So every student I'm showing you, they've allowed me to share their story. And I just want to share it with you real quickly. He told me, he's like, hey, I just want you to know that last year I was in this workshop and I had a LinkedIn profile that I didn't really know anything to do with. I didn't do anything with it. And I had 2 people in my network. He's like, I made it my mission to grow my network. And it took me 3 months to go from 2 people to over 500. That's it. 3 months to go from 2 to 500. And he said, the cool thing is that after he got over 500 people, this company, Cengage, reached out to him, DM'd him on LinkedIn and said, hey, we think you might be a good fit for our paid campus ambassador position. He applied for the job, got the job, and he has been there now for 2.5 years. Where is it right here? He's been there for 2.5 years, and he has a guaranteed job when he graduates from college with his 4-year. Now that's what I'm talking about, right? This is just a perfect example of using the network to get where you want to go in your career. Let me show you Vanessa. Vanessa is a student that I coached a while ago, and she graduated from a state school here in Los Angeles. And her first job out of college and her second job out of college and her third job out of college, she all got through LinkedIn. She got to work at Blizzard. How many of you guys know Blizzard? You don't know Blizzard? Anybody? Yeah. Blizzard is one of the hardest companies to work for because it is, it's a gaming company. They have, I knew the hiring manager there, and they had 4 internship positions. They had 40,000 people apply for those 4 internship positions. One of the ways that she got this job is, as I said, she had so many people in her network. She kept on growing her network in college that she had somebody in her network at Blizzard and at Nix. And so when she was able to get the interview, she reached out to these people in her network and was like, hey, I got an interview at Blizzard. Can you coach me through the interview process? And they helped her through the interview process, and she crushed it, and she got the job. Networking is just totally imperative in this day and age. And it's free. It's totally accessible. You can do it on your mobile device. So the question is just really, how often are you going to do it so that you can get the most out of LinkedIn? Okay, any other questions about that?
I have a question about what sort of things should we put in our experience section? Is that only like jobs and internships?
Okay, that's a really good question. So in my opinion, you want to put, if you've got, so I'll show you Bridget again here. There's some others I can show you, but I'll actually show you Chelsea. But the bottom line is, yes, jobs and internships are great. If you have done volunteer work, right, you can add that as well. Sorry if you hear all the background noise. I've got work getting done on my house. I hope you don't hear it. So here you can see her internships here. She's got a lot of internships that she's posted on LinkedIn. She's put a lot of content in here. You'll notice she's got so one of the things you can do in your experience section is you can actually link to external content. So if you wanted to record a video, or you wanted to, like, if you're a PM and you worked on a project, and you can actually showcase that project, or if you're in marketing and you have a marketing project, you can actually drop a link in here to show that in your experience section. But you can also add volunteer work. If you are, for example, let's say you're class president, or you're the president of the, marketing association, I can't think of anything, on campus. Even though that's volunteer work, you still have roles and responsibility. I think you can put that in your experience section as well. So I just want you to think outside the box. It is not a resume. If you have experience and you want people to see it, put it right here so people will see what kind of experiences you've had. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. No problem. Okay. Last thing I want to cover real quickly is I want to cover content. So content is super, super important. Posting content is going to change the game for you. And this is probably the heaviest lift. Like, most people don't do this, but if you can do this, it will make a huge difference. Because when you think about social media, right? When you think about the reach that social media has, it's never in our history have we had this opportunity as individuals to reach so many people. I mean, I think that gets missed with your generation. You all grew up with social media from a very young age, but Brett and I didn't. Like, when we went to college back in the days when we used stone tablets to communicate with one another, right? We didn't have social media. And what I mean by that is, like, let's just think practically. If I wanted to get a message, right? I wanted to say, you all should read this book, right? You should read this book. This is a great book. How would I get that in front of 10,000 people back in the 90s? How would we do that? There was no internet, really, right? There was no social media. The internet was barely around. So I would have to maybe go and advertise on TV, or I would advertise on the radio, or maybe I'd, pay a big mailer circulation and send out all these mailers to people, or put my ad in the newspaper. And that was it. So people like us, regular individuals, we could never say to 10,000 people, you should read this book. That didn't happen. Today, you can literally go on your phone right now and write something viral and have 10,000 people on LinkedIn see it, or 1 million people on TikTok see it. And I think, personally, I don't think we've grasped how powerful that is. And part of that is because social media for the longest time has been used for fun. It's been used for, TikTok and IG, and I spend way too much time on those platforms, so I'm not judging anybody. But those platforms are designed to have fun. They're not designed to help you make money. They're not designed to help you get a job. They're not designed to really educate people. TikTok maybe, right? But definitely not IG or Snap. So my point with this is that if you decide to use LinkedIn and you decide to share what you're learning and share your thoughts and share your experiences, share what it took for you to get that internship, right? Share what you learned from your internship, share what you've learned from your job, share other people's posts on LinkedIn. You are now contributing to the LinkedIn ecosystem, and you are now giving yourself the opportunity to be seen by 10, 20, 100, 500, 1,000 people, 10,000 people. And there's only one platform that you can do that professionally. Literally, there's only one platform you can do that professionally, and that's LinkedIn. Every other platform, there's all this minutia, all this, white noise. LinkedIn is the pure professional platform that allows you to share what you're learning and what you're doing to help other people and help yourself at the same time. You can add a picture, you can add a video. If any one of you decided to jump on here and record a video and say, here's what I'm learning in school and I'm graduating in May, and I'd really love to work in this type of company. So if anybody has any, advice for me, please hit me up. Do you think that's going to be a bad thing for you? Like, do you think that's going to hurt your career? No, I guarantee you, you will have a ton of people see that video and a ton of people reach out and a ton of people want to help. But I've said this and I've done this workshop hundreds of times and I have yet to see any student take me up on that. It's crazy. And I get it. It's scary. I get it. LinkedIn is a professional network. And so you don't want to look like an idiot. I totally get it. But my point is that if you push yourself out of your comfort zone with LinkedIn, this platform will help you. It's just because it's the only one. It's because we have 800 million members. We have 18 million jobs. There are not enough people with qualifications to fill jobs right now. The job market is crazy. It's nuts. But
hey, Ryan.
Yeah, go for it.
When you create a post like this, does it just go out to your contacts or does it go out to the whole LinkedIn network
ecosystem?
Somehow,
So yeah, it's a public post. So let me show you an example of what you can do. So I'm just going to go over here. I do this all the time. So I'm just going to pull up LA Times. So let's say for you in the class, let's say, Brett assigns homework reading. You have to read an article or blog online. So you grab the link to that and then you put it in here. You can copy and paste it right into here. And what this does is it pulls in the thumbnail image from that article. And then you can type whatever you want to type, right? So this is just a good example of how you can start posting content. So I just read this for class, right? Blah, blah, blah. And then you can tag people. I'm going to tag Ariana, right? Because I'm going to tell you her story in a second. I'm going to tag Jermaine, right? I want to tag people in this. And then I want to throw in some hashtags, right? News of the day or whatever. You will know. I mean, every one of you has been on social media. I'm sure every one of you knows how to tag people on social media and hashtag. So what this does is it's going to hit everybody in your network. So again, growing your network is super important. If you have 3 people in your network, this post will not get seen by anybody. But if you have 500 people in your network, 1,000 people in your network, well then let's think about social media. If you have 1,000 people in your network, and each one of those people has 1,000 people in their network, or 500 and 500, let's just say. That means you're secondary connections with 250,000 people. And if everyone in their network has 500, you're at millions of people that are third-degree connection from you. And the way that LinkedIn works is that if I'm connected to Brett, if I post content and Brett sees it and he likes it, it goes on his feed. Now everybody can see it. If he comments on it or if he shares it, it goes on his feed. And then everybody Brett's connected to, 50 people on his feed like it, then so on and so forth. You get where I'm going with this, right? Social media is powerful. Anybody can see this, anybody. But it starts with you and your feed and posting content. Did I answer your question, Brett?
Yeah, and so what would you recommend? Like, obviously, we want to keep it professional. Don't want anything that would be on the boundaries of,
Yeah.
sketchy.
I'll be candid with you all. I've never seen a post. I've been doing this for years. I keep saying that. I'm going to drop my name actually, because you all are in the Zoom. Brett, just make sure you let them know. You all my first name, last name, search me on LinkedIn. I'm the only Ryan Zervakos. You're more than welcome to connect with me. I've connected with thousands of students. Most of the people in my network are students. Now, here's the deal. I've never, ever seen a student post something inappropriate. Never, never, never. What I have seen most of the time is I've not seen you all post anything. So I would not worry about that because you see what you can post. Post about your internship, post about what you've learned, post about, what motivates you, right? Think about your story. I'll show you another post with you in a second that'll explain this in more detail. But I want to show you Evelyn here. Evelyn, here is a type of post I'm talking about. She had an internship. So she just said, quick post. I can't believe I only have a couple of weeks left in my internship. She tags the company. She's like, I've learned so much this summer. I had an amazing side doing it. Feel lucky. This is not heavy. This is not heavy. This is not difficult to do. All she wanted to do was say, I learned a lot in my internship. Thanks for everything. And then here's where she killed it. She tagged all of those colleagues that she met at Hewlett Packard Enterprise. So everybody that's there sees this post. And then the other thing that she did is she just threw a picture of herself on there sitting at her desk, because one of the things I coached her about is like, if you put a picture, you get 5 times more hits. If you do a video, you get 10 times more views. So she just threw up a picture. She got 201 likes, 12 comments, well over 10,000 people saw this post.
Yeah.
Well over 10,000 people saw this post. All of you, any of you can do this. This is not difficult, right? Every one of you can do this. Let me show you another example of what I'm talking about. Here, I'm sharing. This is a post I shared. You all can do this too. I found a post by somebody in my network. Her name is Serena. She's a recruiter at Cox. And she's like, you want to post on LinkedIn, but you don't have any idea what to post? And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. So she says, 1, start with your story. Everyone has unique stories and journeys. 2, share a relatable experience. Everybody has that. Failure, luck, success, rejection. What obstacles have you overcome? Provide a lesson learned, et cetera, et cetera. All I did was click this share button, and all I did was put a little bit of information up here. I shared her post, wrote a little bit. This took me no more than a minute. And I had 6,700 people look at this post. So you get what I'm talking about? I'm going to tell you one more thing here real quickly. I don't have a drop dead time. I don't have a stop time. So I want to share you Ariana Garcia. Ariana is a student that I met at Cal State Long Beach. She went to San Diego State here in California. She's the first person from her family to go to school, underrepresented, right? And when we met, we talked about how to use LinkedIn, how to get the most out of LinkedIn. And I want to tell you like her tenacity and what she did that's different than just about anybody else I've ever met, and why she now has a job at LinkedIn, which is kind of bananas. When she used LinkedIn, she used it strategically. She did all the things I was talking about. She posted content, but she also did something that very, very few people do. So when she went for this internship at this small tech company in the Bay Area, she was competing against a lot of people, obviously, because any internship for tech companies, you got a ton of people applying. So real quickly, what she did is she went onto LinkedIn. Remember how I showed you how to go onto the company page and actually search for people? She searched for the CEO of the company. And she did a connection request to the CEO of the company. And she messaged, in the message, she said, hi, my name is Ariana. I'm a current student. I just applied for your internship and I would just love an opportunity to interview. That was what she said. That was it. About 3 hours later, the CEO reached out to her and said, no student has ever done that. You will get an interview. The next week she got the interview. On the phone interview, the hiring manager was like, well, normally we have to do 3 interviews, but my CEO was so impressed with you. And she said, if I was impressed with you, to hire you on the spot. So you got the job. And she got the job. She was there for 11 months. They were going to offer her a full-time position, but she wanted to work for LinkedIn from the moment that I met her. And you would think that I'd give her a referral, but I didn't give her a referral. Check out what she did. Because she wanted to work in HR, I'm in sales. I don't know a lot of people in HR. And what she did is she started, instead of going out and what everybody asks is like, hey, how do I connect with recruiters? How do I connect with hiring managers? I don't recommend that, because recruiters and hiring managers, they get people inundating their inbox with connection requests. And then it's just like, oh, can you help me get a job? They don't like that. So what she did instead was she just followed the recruiters at LinkedIn. And anytime they posted content, she would comment on it. she would like it and comment on it, and she'd make a smart comment on it. Well, after about 5 or 6 of those with one of the recruiters here at LinkedIn, the recruiter noticed her. I'm sure she clicked on her profile, as did the
Brilliant.
CEO. I'm sure that, the CEO doesn't accept a connection request in a vacuum. They get a connection request, they click on your profile, they read about you. If your profile is just a resume, they're probably going to move on to the next person. But if your profile talks about you, just like Ariana's, and she posted content, same thing with LinkedIn. She got to know this recruiter, and a few months later, the recruiter reached out to Ariana and said, you should apply for this job. And she got the job at LinkedIn. So all I'm saying with everything that we're talking about today is that it is literally in the palm of your hand, literally here. And if you spend 5 to 10 minutes a day on LinkedIn, I guarantee you it will make a difference for you. I guarantee it will help you. But you just have to get past this fear of failure and fear that people are going to reject you, fear that you are an imposter, and just know that your story is your story and your story is unique. And if you start with that on authenticity, the world will open up to you. You just got to get past that fear. So that's about it. I hope I haven't bored you to tears. I don't see anybody sleeping, so that's a good sign. That's a really good sign.
Any questions or anything for Ryan?
Comments?
Yeah, maybe they'll come up. I'm wondering if you could do an exercise with us real quick, Ryan.
Yeah.
I love this idea of creating a brand for yourself. I wonder if we can push that idea a little bit farther by brainstorming that for developers. And I don't want to take it, if you guys have something specifically you want to get into it, or if you've got another thing you've got to rush off to. But I love that idea of a brand and developing your brand. Any questions or anything for Ryan real quick? How about if I turn this around so you can see the whiteboard, and I'm going to probably put up on the screen.
This is super meta. I can see myself over there. Wow, that's crazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's how do we push that idea
Yeah.
of
No.
you're a brand? For
Absolutely. So, when you think of branding, right? A brand is basically like a company's promise to its customer, right? A brand it tells you what they can expect from your product or your service. A brand tells you how unique you are from your competitors. That's what a brand is. And I think it's kind of, sometimes it's hard to think about, what exactly does a brand mean, right? What makes a good brand? How do you identify it? So, let's think about that. When you go ahead.
So are good things to bring up, like kind of where the good things about you came from, almost like if I try to be really positive, and I definitely put that on my resume as something that is a good quality, and I became positive, or that aspect of my personality came from these experiences.
Yes.
So
Okay.
something relevant.
Yeah, let's dig into that deeper. So I assume your background, what makes you you. What about that for a developer? Think about most everybody in here wants to be a developer or somewhere in the development chain. What is that more specifically for developers?
I mean, we all had that moment, the first couple of months that we're programming where it sucked.
Yeah, your first programming experience.
Right.
We were all there when it was really hard, and then got kind of past that.
Okay,
point.
yeah, when it was super hard.
Yeah.
Super hard, and maybe it has gone to being somewhat second nature.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's not easy for you to see, Ryan.
No, I'm good.
Second
Question
nature.
for you, if somebody wants to volunteer this, but why do you want to be a developer?
Love it. Let's put that over here.
Yeah, somebody, I would love to hear somebody, why did you decide to go down this path?
Georgia, come on now. I'm gonna put you on the spot because you told me this the first time I met you.
Georgia just got called out.
Come on, I don't mean to embarrass you. You have family ties, right, that are super
Family?
technical, right? And that got you very interested in.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, so maybe family background.
Family?
What else?
That's powerful. That is really powerful.
What else?
I really like pursuing what the next what if is. So the next new thing on the
Like what
market really, really excites me.
Love it.
I've always liked that you can, there's so many ways to change the world from your like
Yes.
bedroom, from your,
Yes.
from just an office or whatever.
So
So
look at Ryan. Look at how he's dressed.
Yeah.
Changing the world like that.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, that's cool.
Exactly.
It wasn't long ago, he and I, neither one would go anywhere without a tie.
Yeah.
Somebody could see us.
That's true.
Seriously, nowhere.
That's true. Now you can't catch me dead in a tie. Well, maybe you could catch me dead in a tie if I were in a coffin. No, I'm kidding. The last thing that was just said, right? Or the last few things that we've said, those are things that you could put in your about section, right? Instead of saying, I want to be a a developer, why, right? And show your origin story. You know, I grew up and my family, they've been developing all their lives, and I see the what if, right? And those are things that are compelling. And when you start thinking about your brand, just brainstorming here for 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes, these are things that you can take away. This is great.
How about you, Lennon? You told me more about like, you know, the why. You told me a little bit about the why with you.
I mean, the future is technology, and I feel like the furtherment of humanity in general really lies on the shoulders of technology and solving our global issues with climate change, and where are we going to go in space, and what sort of technology is going to like help our lives. I feel like that being in the tech industry like sits at the top of that. So that's why I'm excited to be in that.
And I think another important thing is that like it's fun, or like not for everyone, but like I'm not that motivated to do things that I don't enjoy, even if there is a higher purpose. Like I'm not a grown up yet, but I like it, and so I want to do it. I will stay motivated in the long term for a company because I want to do it anyway. It's not just because I'm getting paid.
Yeah.
I enjoy it because like 90% of it is learning.
Oh, beautiful.
What was that?
I love learning, and
Oh.
almost entirely the work is learning it.
Listen.
The key word right now, lifelong learning, right?
Yeah. Technically, those are 2 words, but it's okay. To Brett's point, he stole my thunder. If you can show that you are a lifelong learner or you have a growth mindset, like again, what are things that you can't teach? You can't teach that. You cannot teach people that want to learn. And so I highly recommend that if you are a lifelong learner, you talk about it, but you don't just say I'm a lifelong learner. Kind of think about a way you could articulate that, right? There's another student that I coached a while ago, and she's like, I just want to tell my story of when I immigrated. I immigrated to California when I was 8 years old, and I had to teach myself English. And I did that through Harry Potter, right? Like that's a great story. Watching Harry Potter taught me English, and it started my thirst for knowledge and becoming a lifelong learner, right? That's a big deal. Embracing the fact that you're an immigrant, teaching yourself English because for sure her parents didn't know any English, right? So again, instead of just saying I'm a lifelong learner, showing how you are.
What else? What else is our brand?
Like we mentioned before, we're nerds a lot of times. So bring up our interests that are often nerd interests, like, Marvel or Disney or whatnot, what have you, embracing those often cultural phenomena. Not if it's not genuine to you, but for a lot of us it is, video games and media and film that we enjoy.
Totally agree. And here's the deal. It's like, you're going to be working for other, and I'll just use, since you said it, nerds, I don't think you're nerds, but you're going to be working for other people that are like you, right? And so if you put on there that you love Squid Game and it's like this amazing, or you love anime or you love video games, right? That is not a bad thing. 5 years ago, people would say, don't ever put that you love playing video games on your LinkedIn profile. Now that is not the case. And if somebody tells you that, they're older. They're thinking about the old LinkedIn. I just want you to know that one of the things that LinkedIn is trying to do is to try to level the playing field and make things equitable and make things authentic. And you can't be authentic if you can't be yourself. And there are a lot of people that love to play games. Just because you love to play games doesn't mean that you don't do a good job. In fact, it could be the quite opposite. So, and by the way, do you want to work for anybody that doesn't want you to play games? No, you don't want to be that person.
Hey, I also want to mention, you may not know this, Ryan, but this is a Christian college.
Right.
That means we have some ethical, expectation of ourselves.
Right.
That is huge.
Yeah.
There are so many people who cheat, steal, lie, bring their companies crashing to the ground, that people are interested in our ethics.
I've heard that it's been like a helpful thing that we do dilemmas and decisions, or D&D. That's like a requirement for graduation, is like kind of the self-reflective aspect of, ethics. Not all of us really enjoy D&D, but I've heard that it actually, like in interviews, it's actually relevant.
I think it is.
Absolutely. Yeah. And for a lot of tech companies, they're going to put you in that situation. Also critical thinking. Like if you all are doing a lot of critical thinking. So if you can articulate that on your profile, and again, you all are thinking about this, like I'm talking about all this content in the about section. You can put this content in your experience section as well. I worked for this company and we did, maybe don't say critical thinking, but we did a lot of thinking about how we're going to tackle this problem, right? That's what I'm talking about, where you can elaborate and tell a story, not only in your about section, but also in your experience section. And again, is everybody going to read every word? No. But for the right person, the right role, they're going to read that. And then the more content you put in there, the better. It's not worse, it's the better.
Great. Anything else we want to discuss here? I think it would be really helpful to get that brown block in. Sorry, go ahead, Bill.
Can I get back to general questions?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Thank you for that, everything. I've been working with somebody at Principia who's been helping me pretty much network and get my LinkedIn a little better. Been slacking on that, but I'll probably go back to it now. The person actually told me that I should have as many keywords on my resume as possible, because there are search algorithms in LinkedIn search engine that will match me to better recruiters if I have them. Are you saying that
That's not true.
not the case? Yeah.
Right. So yes and no. I mean, one of the things that we're seeing here is that people can see when you're doing like a keyword dump, right? And that like every other word is a keyword, or your about section is full of like 20 or 30 keywords. The problem is that is not authentic. And so my deal with you is this, my point with you is this. When recruiters are looking at LinkedIn, they might be searching for certain keywords, but those are normally skills, right? That's the deal. So if you have a skill, and any skill that you have, I should show you Bridget's profile again, but Bridget has, I want to say like 30 or 40 skills, maybe even more than that. Every single Microsoft Office product, HR suites, HR software she's learned, right? You all are doing programming development. So every single skill that you have should be on your profile. Then you don't necessarily need to worry about keywords like, communication and stuff like that. You are going to be doing that. Resumes are different. Resumes are different because resumes, they're looking for certain keywords. But this is the problem. That person you're talking to thinks that LinkedIn is like a resume. It is not. So I'm not saying don't ever use keywords, but I'm saying I want you to think about how you want to articulate your brand and your experiences. And if keywords drop in there, like communication and discipline, that's great. But if you can't weave that into the conversation in an authentic way, I say don't worry about it, because people searching LinkedIn are usually not searching a keyword like discipline. They're searching skills. So I hope that makes sense. That you don't have to use keywords. You can put them in your skills section and you're going to be covered.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, man.
I'm wondering, for those of us who maybe have more of a bare bones LinkedIn profile at the moment, what would you summarize are the key things that we should focus on adding to our profile at the moment?
I would focus on your about section and your featured section. That's what I would do. I would focus on your story, because your experiences are what your experiences are. And I think that's why you know, LinkedIn is so powerful. Like if you're a barista or you're a server, people know what servers do. They know what a barista does, right? Now, I think you can elaborate on that, but they don't know who you are. So I would focus on your story, focus on your background, focus on the top third that we talked about, because that's what people are going to see right away when they land on your page. Then I would then go into your experience section and try to elaborate on your experience section. Add as many skills as you possibly can. That should take 5 minutes. Go in and just add every single skill that you know of, every single, again, and then go from there.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Okay, hold still, Ryan, hold still. I've been wanting to do that the whole time.
It's funny.
Very nice.
I probably look great with a stash. All right.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Let's give him a hand here. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Appreciate you taking time to do this.
Anything for you, my friend, and you all, please feel free to reach out to me anytime, connect with me. You're more than welcome to DM me with any questions you've got. I'm happy to help. If there's one last, word of wisdom I'm going to give you is, again, I've been working for LinkedIn for a long time, and I can count on one hand how many students have reached out to me that have not been in my workshops, that have said, hey, can I do an informational interview? You may think that people get hit up all the time. I guarantee you they don't. I guarantee you they don't, with the exception of recruiters, right? Recruiters and hiring managers, but people, PMs, and they just don't get hit up that often. So push yourself out of your comfort zone to connect with people and to ask for informational interviews. I guarantee you it will make a huge difference. Guarantee it.